In this edition of INN CEO Talks, we're talking about a greenfield district-scale gold system in the Yukon with Snowline Gold's Scott Berdahl, who is a professional geologist with over 15 years of industry experience. And not just industry experience, but Yukon gold industry experience. Scott was born and raised in Whitehorse, and he brings a strong technical grounding in discovery stage exploration alongside in-depth local knowledge. And then add in a BSc in geology from MIT, Masters of Science in Earth Science and Engineering from KAUST in Saudi Arabia, and an MBA from INSEAD in France and Singapore. What it all adds up to is the kind of experience that can identify and guide Snowline as it develops 3 unique gold properties. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Stuart. Excited to be here.
You're up in the Yukon right now, and I understand that you've got some pretty exciting results from 2021 that you would like to start off by sharing with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, 2021 was Snowline's first year as a company. We founded the company around an idea that there was this unrecognized gold district sitting in the Selwyn Basin here in the Yukon, really an unexplored part of those very prospective rocks. And so, building on basically decades of previous work privately, we realized these targets were at the stage where we needed public money and we were ready to drill them. And so we founded Snowline, we launched Snowline, and this idea has come together in a spectacular fashion. We made one high-grade discovery at our Jupiter gold target. It's an orogenic style discovery, similar to the mineralization you see coming out of these shallow orogenic systems in places like Newfoundland, in places like Australia, Fosterville. And so obviously we're very excited to see that. And then we capped off the season by moving the drill 40 kilometers to the south on an intrusion-related sort of Fort Knox style target. And there we drilled 4 holes, our first 4 holes ever into this target. All came back with very exciting results. 3 of the 4 carried more than a gram per ton over more than 135 meters, with the latest that we just got in being arguably the most exciting. So we're very excited with how this first season turned out.
So you have 3 different projects, as I understand. Can you give us a brief overview of each of them?
Sure. So we actually brought 7 projects all together into the company, but we've sort of had to whittle that down a bit for where we're going to focus. And so we began focusing in, as I mentioned, this part of the Selwyn Basin, sort of in the eastern Yukon Territory, where we have 3 gold projects and 1 base metal project that are all in close proximity. And the base metal project, called Ursa, also has an intriguing gold element to it as well. So our main projects are Einarson and Rogue. Those were the 2 that we drilled this summer. Each of them have quite a few targets on them. We picked and drilled 1 target each this last summer. So we're excited to get back out onto them, and as well as to follow up on those targets, but also to start looking around at some of these other targets, which were already very prospective, but are a lot more intriguing now in light of this year's discoveries.
So that's where your main focus is going to be in 2022?
That's right. We'll be revisiting the Einarson project with more drilling at the Jupiter discovery. That's the epizonal orogenic discovery. We'll have a second drill at our Rogue project, this intrusion-related bulk tonnage sort of target. The valley zone is where we made the discovery, but there are additional zones on there. So 1 drill on each of those, and we will see what resources permit, but we might also scale up the program and look at ways to sort of increase the pace of what we're doing out there. But for now, that's what we're looking at doing, is getting a drill back to Jupiter, getting a drill back to Valley, and then similar to how we made the Valley discovery at the end of 2021 by using the drill from Jupiter, we'd like to take both those drills and move them onto secondary targets late in the season, and to hopefully double down and make additional discoveries that we think are hiding out there.
Well, in my introduction, I talked about the fact that you have suggested that you're talking district scale greenfield gold discoveries. Those are pretty big claims, aren't they?
It is. I mean, and but I'm happy to stand behind them because this is really a district scale area. It's a huge area. Just Einarson itself initially covered and the data footprint we have covers an area that's the size of Luxembourg, and then you add Rogue to the south of that, almost as big, including the Ursa and the Cynthia properties. It's a huge area. Just you're talking like 100 kilometers north to south, 80 kilometers east to west. That's seen very little exploration prior to our work out there. And so we really are, we founded the company around this idea that this is a new gold district and that these are very prospective rocks sitting out there. And we couldn't have asked for a better proof of concept than going out there, drilling 2 targets in our first year and having 2 very significant sort of 100 gram meter plus discoveries on 2 different targets. So it bodes well for our claims. Obviously, there's a lot to left to discover or left to find out about what's really out there, but it certainly looks a lot like a gold district to us at this point.
So, do you have the resources that you need right now to move forward with drilling programs for this year? And then also, in addition to that, what's your long-term objective?
Great question. Yes, we do have the resources available. We're fresh off a $7 million raise that we closed in December. So we have about $8.5 million going into this season, which is more than enough to do what we hope to do out there. And our longer term objective is really to, I guess going back to your previous question, prove that we really do have a district. And I think that comes down to striking a balance between getting out there and exploring more of these targets and really showing the potential of the overall area, as well as doubling down where we have made big discoveries and starting to build those out and starting to show, where these ounces are and what they look like and really proving that to the world.
Is your hope to build this out and mine it yourself, or are you looking at vending in with a major?
Ideally, we're kind of charting on that path towards getting taken out or joint venturing or some sort of an arrangement like that with a major. But that said, that really depends on a lot of circumstances, both within and beyond our control. So, the road towards production on our own, I wouldn't rule it out entirely, but we would have to hire a totally different team and really redefine ourselves as a company before we tried that. Our expertise is early stage exploration. That's what we're doing. That's what we're finding success with. And, that's kind of what we're aiming for.
We haven't also talked about your properties in southwestern Yukon. Give us a little recap of that before we wrap up our interview.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, nobody ever asks about those. So, no, that's great because they are exciting properties. And actually, as we were looking to set up Snowline and kind of deciding how to set up the company and where to focus our efforts, those are very strong candidates. And actually, we had, there were companies that were bidding on those projects, Tosh and Cliff, both orogenic gold targets down in the southwest. Just before we set up Snowline, we had companies bidding on those as to take them as their flagship asset in a new public company. So they're definitely really intriguing targets. Both are sort of at the drill ready stage. Tosh actually was staked by my father, Ron Berdahl, in '88, I think. So it's been burning a hole in our back pocket for a long time, and going back out there over the past decade or so, we did some major work, big soils programs, and have come out with multiple anomalies that are more than 2 kilometers in length, just nice gold multi-element anomalies, and with grab samples, generally a few grams per ton up to I think 6 grams per ton, some silver kicking around in there up to more than 1 kilogram per ton in grab samples. So yeah, we're really excited by what we're seeing down there, and I think it really comes down to they started as a hedge, and now that we've had such good success on our flagship projects, it'll come down to having that conversation to figure out how we optimize value for our shareholders and how we use those projects, because their utility as a hedge seems to be diminishing as we no longer need a hedge. So what does that look like then? And I think we're basically going to keep working on them in a secondary priority sort of capacity, and then maybe start to look at ways to joint venture or option or sell those projects to bring more value to our main portfolio.
So what's the number one thing that you want investors to take away from this interview?
I think it comes down to the comment you made just about this being a district, and that we really stand behind that. And I know that that gets thrown around so much in today's exploration promotion parlance, but we're really doing it. This is a big new area. We're finding big deposits, and I think there's an opportunity here for investors to take part in not just one discovery, but many as we continue to work out there.
Well, I know we have viewers that are going to be interested in future updates from you, and I hope that you'll come back in a few months and tell us how your results were for 2022.
I would love to do that. Thank you, Stuart.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time.